You are no longer muted. I'm very sorry. My treatment of you on this channel has been gruesome.
Abysmal.
Okay, it is. All right, everyone. I can see that there are an entire 8 people watching, at least 2 of which are me and Deirdre. So, all 6 of you, what are your questions? What would you like to know about Comic-Con? Should we just go from the top? This is MCM London Online, in which we don't have a table or any problems related to tables, but we will still probably talk about a lot of problems related to tables anyway.
Living behind a table for 3 days straight.
Oh, it's filthy. Oh, it's
and
so
Sarah,
bad.
I know you do that too.
I think Sarah has one of those smaller tables though, so that never gets as bad. But when we have a whole row of people on the big dealer tables, and there's just about 3 feet of space behind you where people can fling trash, by God, did they fling trash?
But also, like, Sarah only has 1 foot of space behind her table, and I remember she was just like pinned in behind that one table.
We won't name names, but some people leave entire spaces inside their table for extra trash to simply squirrel it away.
We've done that though.
The human trash heap. I feel like the worst thing we have is coffees, because we will, between the 2 of us, have about 3 coffees each a day by the end of a weekend. That is such a problem.
I just want to take my Costa card and just every time somebody swipes, just be like, "Here, use my Costa card. Here, use my Costa card."
She just put it at the front, like, please. My favorite thing is when you just have to accost random passersby and say, "Please, you don't know me. Please bring me a coffee. Please, God. I saw you were headed that way. Bring it back to us.
Here's $10. I don't need any change. Just give me a coffee.
Please come back. I trust you. You have a trustworthy face. I trust you to bring it back to me." Yeah, the trash gets abysmal. And then people are very, very kind and they bring you extra things, but they bring you things that don't have plates or packets or need to be refrigerated, and they become just awful over the space of 3 days. Hummus.
Sea of Simulation, I have a whole space behind one of my cube displays for trash and food.
That's what we're talking about, the squirreling. The squirreling, like you're keeping it as nuts for winter. Like you might need to go back and get to those crumbs later on when you get truly desperate.
I just love how you always bring food that is not meant for any type of con. It's always like the sausage eggs, different kinds of eggs, and hummus and sausage.
I mean, I just bring loose eggs. It's usually more like a sandwich. But yeah, here's my loose eggs.
This shrimp sandwich is going to be good for 3 days, right? Under a table? It'll be fine.
No. I do, in fairness, I mostly bring veggie stuff like falafel, which doesn't go too bad. Yeah. Sometimes it's not lovely after a couple of days, but it's not actually, it won't kill you.
Here's the true con hack. You wait until the last hour of con and you run over to the Japanese section and you buy all their food for half price. Yes. And that's how you get food.
And you are so hungry up to that point that you will eat literally anything by the time it gets there. Well, I remember last time you just bought that huge bag of sweets and I was like, I mean, I'm with you. I don't know how many meters of rope I can eat, but I'll certainly give it a go.
That's the second con in a row you've given me £10, £10 and been like, get us food, and I've come back with some sort of large bag of sweets or cakes and been like, this is food, right?
What do you guys bring to con in the chat? Let us know, because like I think my big hack that I try and push on everyone is to like make wraps, and everyone just looks at me like, "Hey, I'm a monster." And Deirdre's like, "How can you continuously eat these?" And I'm like, "It's handy. They stay in their wrapper, and you can put them down and not eat them for an hour, and then pick them up again and continue where you left off if needs be."
I just go to M&S. Sarah has asked a question. How do you get all your stuff to cons? Do you have recommendations for cases, how not to travel, workout routines, so you can lift your stuff without dying?
Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
Faye's just a straight up monster when carrying cases. But I don't know how she does that. She saves all her adrenaline just for that one day.
This is a very important fact. I cannot drive. So that extremely limits my ability to get anything to and from con, but I still insist on bringing about 100 kilos of shit with me. So what I do is, I'm a monster, and I buy absolutely enormous suitcases that each can fit about 50 or 60 kilos worth of stuff. And then I plan my entire journey to con around having to carry it as little as humanly possible. But I will carry it. Like I can. My line is I still have to be able to lift it, so that if I absolutely had to get it up some stairs, I could. And sometimes you do. And we were in Birmingham MCM back in October, November. When was that? God, another lifetime. We were Birmingham
Was that when I
MCM.
was there?
What?
Was that when I was there? Yeah.
Yeah, you came and you
Uh,
hung out in the hotel room and we played something
ooh.
on the Switch. Overcooked. That was it.
Yeah.
But they the venue was in a different place, so I arrived at the place where I thought the con was, where I had like meticulously planned exactly how I was going to get there to carry my cases as little as possible. And there was a Christmas con on, and there was all these little old ladies wearing antlers carrying snowflake stuff, and I was just like, oh fuck, I'm in the wrong place. And I had to walk what they told me was 10 minutes, but was at least 30 minutes with the cases and several staircases, and I nearly died. So I guess that's not really a solution, but buy huge suitcases, be able to lift them, plan your journeys, and then the suitcases only live for about 2 cons, so you will have to constantly replace them. It's not a good
Yeah.
answer. It's not a good answer. I wish I had a better answer for you.
Uh,
I've seen some people with really clever stuff, like those big systems that like builders use
yeah.
to carry really heavy tools. You know, sensible shit.
You do mail some stuff to me ahead of time
Mm.
sometimes just to lighten the load.
Have a
But you'd
friend.
have to
Have a friend in the
have,
area.
have a friend who's willing to bring you a 15-kilo box over to
Have a
Comic-Con.
friend who also has a suitcase. Yeah, I really wish more cons let you mail stuff to the venue. I think if you're a really big person, they would let you mail like literally a shipping crate of stuff to them. But I have looked into that in the past. Or I looked into getting a PO box in the post office close to the venue. I was like, this is a work of genius. I'm so smart. But the nearest PO box to MCM London was still over a river and a taxi drive, and I was like, that's too much. Full stop.
I do recommend taxis sometimes. I
Yeah,
mean, you just I know it's like some money, but at the end of the day, it's just like just so worth it to not be
yeah.
shattered when you get to con.
I always think about it like if is the 15 to 30 to 45 pounds you're going to spend on a like Uber, are you going to make that money back a con because you still have energy to look people in the eyes?
Yeah.
Do you know? Like if
Also,
you you still have more energy at the end.
especially if you get in on a Friday, like set up
Mm.
early in the Friday to be ready for a half a day, it's
Yeah.
just like, and there are ways to get around it. I know some of my old bosses, there are different car shares other than Uber, and they'll
Yeah.
give you like $10 off your first ride, or if you have friends who like get a ride first. And they do that, they always ended up with like 50 pounds credit towards car share rides
Yeah.
for like, and then, you know, that would be the time to use it.
Plus, like sharing taxis with people can like really bring your car. If you can like time it that you all arrive together, you can be like, we get these huge taxis that fits 25 suitcases and just yeah.
You should tell the story about the train, making the train wait for you though.
Oh, I'm so angry. The last comic was it literally it was the last MCM. I had my 1 million kilos of stuff, and I arrived at the train station 45 minutes early because that's the kind of person I've become because of Comic Con. And so I sat there and I drank my coffee, and they said the lift wasn't working. So I said, that's no problem. I've left it 45 minutes ahead of time. Can you walk me over the tracks? Which is what they do when the lift is broken. They always have to have someone walk you over the tracks because you're not like legally allowed to walk the 10 paces yourself. So like I'm sat on one side of the tracks. The tracks are literally a few feet, flat ground, could just walk straight over it and you'd be on the correct platform in a second. But they were like, no, I can't walk you over. We need to get Dave to walk you over. So then my guy goes and tries to get Dave and spends the full time trying to get Dave's attention. And then at like 1 minute to the train arriving, the guy starts walking over to me incredibly slowly. Just so slowly. And I start yelling at him, like, the train is like about to come and I just need to run over. Like, I'm just going to do it. And he went, no, you can't. And just kept going like he was in quicksand. It was amazing. And then the train arrives, so I can't cross the tracks because I'll get hit by a train. So I have to go then up a huge set of stairs and over Skybridge and down, but the train will leave before I can do that. So I give one suitcase to each porter, the guys who are being slow, so I feel no remorse about this. And I ran over and stood in the train doorway so they can't leave. And then I watched them try and lug 100 pounds of crap over the Skybridge. But I was just so angry I didn't care because, like, I could. But, like, I was also, I'm going to say this as well, I was mostly not as angry for myself as, like, all of the people with disabilities who literally could not get across, because we were in a big group, and there was a guy who, like, clearly couldn't walk and had heart problems, and he missed the train, I think, because, like, they just were not bothered to attempt to get him on it. So yeah, anyway, don't rely on trains, I think, is probably the moral of that.
I don't rely on timed trains.
Don't rely on British jobs worths to help you get anywhere. But anyway, that was probably not a great story. That was probably a great light.
No, I like
you
it.
gotta get to con though. You gotta do it.
What other questions do we have?
We wanted to talk about, like, safe words and buddy systems and stuff at Comic-Con.
I did want to talk about that. Lily Cuddlesworth did a tweet the other day, which was, what has been your most anxious moment of con?
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the replies were just like, creepy people who won't leave your table, stuff like that. And we wanted to talk a bit about how we deal with that sometimes.
I think people sometimes just don't have any filter by the time they get to con or halfway around con. Especially dudes who think what do they always call it on my Bim Bam? You're not at a lady zoo. Like, people are working and they have to be nice to you, and this is still a retail environment. So please stop trying to, I guess, get phone numbers or whatever you think is going on at this con. Have you had anyone like that, Deirdre?
I've never had somebody try and get a number. I've had somebody stare eerily long at your picture of Link for, like, creepily long, and I've been like, okay.
For context,
along, please.
For context, let's get up that picture of Link.
But they just stand there and go, that's a really good picture. And I'm like, mm-hmm. Would you like to buy it?
There he is, my boy. Was he just really confused, I wonder?
No, he was just, like, sitting there rubbing his face, just looking at it, and I was like, yeah.
I had a guy do that where he crouched on the table in front of me, like, crouched so I could just see his eyes, and he was there for about 20 minutes. And sometimes you just leave people alone. Like, I don't know why you're on the floor. Maybe you have a really good reason. I'm just gonna let you be. And then he stood up and wanted to commission a very sexy drawing of Tracer from Overwatch. And I was like, no, thank you, sir. I'm not taking commissions anyway. But
yeah. Commissions at con. Why do you not do it?
Because I talk to people constantly, and there's only so many times you can come back and tell people, oh yeah, no, sorry, it'll totally be done in like 20 minutes. And then you go off and have a 45-minute conversation about Yu-Gi-Oh! With somebody that you weren't expecting to have. And they come back around again, you go, oh, I'm so sorry, it'll be done in 20 minutes. And I'm a liar, it won't be done in 20 minutes. And then I'd usually spend the next week and a half doing them because I'm not there to rob anyone. I want everyone to get their commission. So it kept coming home with me, I think, is the answer to that question. I really admire anyone who can do them at con. That is a skill.
A special skill.
A special skill. What are your favorite con activities, Deirdre? What do you like to do?
Well, I'm a type A personality, so I love cleaning up the trash and then straightening all the money. After con parties, that's my favorite part. When we get ciders and play D&D after every con, that's why I'm
intend to play D&D and usually just lie on the floor.
Just very relaxed D&D where 15 people say they want to join, and I'm like, yes, okay, I'm just gonna lie here and roll some dice.
I always really admire everyone who's doing D&D at con, because you can tell, and this has happened to you, Sarah, I know, where you've planned like a whole campaign, and then you have to just be like, okay, we're only going to do the first 3.5 minutes of this campaign because we're not going to get any further with it than that.
We're all so tired,
So
but it's so good. My other thing was avoiding con crud if possible.
oh yeah. What's your technique?
I think it's just not to exhaust yourself. I think is the main. Take care of yourself over the whole weekend, because I
Yeah.
think the more you work yourself to death over a whole weekend, the more likely you're going to get con crud. Like
Yeah.
it's like if you don't have the strength after a weekend to fight con crud, it's just going to be miserable. But sometimes you just can't avoid it, I think.
I think we've all had the experience as well of like if it's a 3 day con that you actually have the crud by Sunday, and then your Sunday is just so miserable because you are literally literally beginning to die while still actually at the con. You didn't even make it home.
Well, when you realize by the end of the weekend that you all you had in one day was 5 coffees, no water, and maybe some candy, some nice teen gave you, and you're just like, oh, I wonder why I'm sick. Maybe it's all the coffee and candy I ate for
What
3 days.
happened? What could it possibly have been? Yeah, I'm trying to think of what my top techniques are. I think it's like having a good chill set of people that you can share an Airbnb with, and a chill set of people you can chill out with. Because yeah, I think those evening, because you still want to socialize, you still want to have a good
Yeah.
time. But and I know some people just flat out are like, no, I'm going back to the hotel to sleep now, which I respect. But I've come so far. I still want to see everybody. But that's where you really can start to exhaust yourself, because that's when you end up staying up till 2 a.m. accidentally because you had a miserable experience of some kind or another.
I know it's a lot of adulting when you're like, all right, it's 11 o'clock, everybody, we got to go to bed, even though we're in the middle of Cards Against Humanity for the 5th time.
Because we still need
We
to
just got,
shower, make food for tomorrow, pack up everything, count the cash, put it away, and then we get to go to bed.
yeah.
Yeah. You used to have to
Uh,
go the whole way across town as well, which was a nightmare.
yeah, the hour across town was, whew, but it just became easier. In Ray, I stay at Ray's. Ray's is, I didn't stay at Ray's for Comic Con though, I don't think. It's so convenient. What
Yeah.
I I remember you when I first met you, you were staying in hostels by yourself in the grungiest, creepiest hostels around London that you could possibly find.
I've had some amazing techniques over time. When I was younger and had more energy and no money, I would find the £12 a night places, which are one of the places burned down multiple times. Not while I was there, just sort of in general.
Just around you.
It was abysmal. A guy threw a charger at me because I asked if they had any chargers. So one day we came back from con and they'd put all of our stuff in bin bags and put it in the hole. Still not really sure why. Just full stop. So I stopped doing that.
Fumigation, that's why.
Again, like, it's more expensive, but I think if you spend a bit more on your room or your. I still don't spend that much because some people spend an awful lot on really nice hotels, which I've done like once or twice. But my technique of preference is to get like 5 people I like. Haha, that's tricky on its own sometimes. 5 people I like and get on with, and then we book an Airbnb and split it 5 ways. But you can get a really nice Airbnb that way. Like, good Airbnb. Everyone gets their own bed.
Yeah. I love the one where I mean Sam didn't like it, but the one we went in the cable car over to that had the nice balcony looking onto
Yes.
like the park, and we all had like beers on the balcony. That was so nice.
Oh, there was like an amazing storm at that balcony. We all stood outside being like, ah, yes, the storm after a hard day's work. Yeah, that was really nice. I'm really
uh,
sad we won't get to go to the Airbnb this time because I booked us a really nice one. But yeah, oh well.
Ellie Mifflin says, "Love vlogging on and getting to see these good
Hey,
drawings."
Ellie, how you doing? Been in communique. I hope quarantine is treating you well.
Ray says, "Lucky I live so close to the Excel." You do live very close.
That's good. Thank you for coming in and helping last time, Ray. That was really nice of you. Oh, we should talk about like helpings, doing the helping,
Helping.
because I think like that's a huge part of con actually. How do I put this? You need someone. You need someone. It doesn't have to be a helper. You need a table partner. You need a friend you made that day specifically so that you would have someone. Usually the person next to you. I do that for small cons all the time. I'll just get to know your table neighbors immediately. Who's cool? Because at some point you're going to need to go to the bathroom and you're going to need to get a coffee and you're going to need to lie down on the floor and die for 5 minutes in silence.
I think that's how I became such good friends with Wei, is
Yeah.
we I tabled next to her for a really, really small like college con, and it was nobody was there, and it was just us just making faces at each other all day.
Oh, I love Way so much. Way is
I
just such a
love
sweetheart. I miss
Ellie
Way.
Mifflin says, "I'm good, thanks. It's been treating me some way. You?"
Oh, yeah. I feel like for the first half of quarantine, I was like, this is basically my normal life. See no one, stay indoors, stay 6 feet apart from all humans. But now it's yeah. I have to admit, it's really weird. Our whole like building has emptied out. People have been moving out. The shops have been moving out. The whole street
Really?
is yeah. I think because the businesses can't keep up and they couldn't get people to like pause their rent. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I think
surreal.
it's going to be the destruction of the small business storefronts for sure, because they just can't afford rent like that.
And the government isn't helping particularly. But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's been really weird. I feel like everyone at the start of quarantine was like, now's the time to create. No, just no.
I just live in a small American town, and everybody's like, what virus?
What
What?"
virus? You wearing one of them masks? How could you?
Yes, that is how we live. That is what we do.
I did consider buying a box of 50 masks I saw on sale today, and then I was like, I don't really know how to do this, but yeah. If anyone needs
Oh,
any, I know where to get them. I've got a supplier.
my uncle works for a health department, and they've said they've had to chuck thousands of masks
Oh,
because
really?
they actually have, yeah, they have expiration dates on them.
Maybe that'll be the ones I've been seeing for sale because I think like the public can still wear them because it still is like good enough for public good, but not actually good
Yeah.
enough for medical grade use.
Yeah, apparently the elastic on the side has an expiration date, so
That makes sense actually.
they're not
Elastic,
allowed to use them.
elastic does get kind of nasty.
Yeah. I was trying to go back to my con questions.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, we were on our helpers vibe.
Our helpers vibe.
Um, we had Fran though one time. She was great as well. With helpers, you have three choices. You can pick a randomer on the day that you just met, but you've decided they have a trustworthy face and they're cool, and you help each other or whatever the system is, or you give them a spare pass that you have, or whatever it is, or you have a friend who's just cool, or you pay people, or
This is me.
a mixture of all three. Deirdre's great. Like Deirdre's almost like a professional con helper at this point because you have tons of retail experience. You already love cons and everything going on there, and you already know half the people who are involved and the fandoms. Because sometimes I get my little sister to help, but she has never seen a nerd show in her life. So she quite likes counting cash, but she can't actually have a conversation with anyone about anything. So if you can find your
That's me and
Deirdre,
my
stick to.
that's me in my current business though, where people are like, "Do you know how this engine works?" And I'm like, "No."
Absolutely not. Thank you. Have a nice
Absolutely
day. Take your chainsaw with you. Thank you.
not. Get it out of here. It's dead.
I loved the other day I called you and you were like, have we fixed the carburetor? And I was like, I don't know what a carburetor is. What is this strange world?
I do everything and everything now for money. No, that's a lie.
If anyone needs Deirdre to table at an American convention, well, I'm certainly thinking about
Oh,
it.
I will do that.
That would be fun.
All
What if you
right.
brought everyone's stuff at once and just were like, I'm the every stall?
Yes. I think Dragon Con in Atlanta is still going on in September, because
Mm.
of course it is. And I I want to do that con.
That would be
I
fun.
think it's I know, I think it's going to be empty. Empty in weird ways, but like I don't know. It's Dragon Con is one of the I think the best cons in America, honestly.
Yeah.
Momo Con was supposed to be this weekend.
I knew a lot
Um
of people were gonna do TCAF from here. That
yeah.
seems to be a big one.
All right. One question. How
Ooh.
to get a table?
I feel like everyone in this chat surely knows that. Anyone in this chat may actually not. Well, the Artist Alley tables for MCM is a sign up list, and you just, I believe, sign up and then get told whether or not you have it. And if you want to get a dealer's table, you have to know how it works, which is that you have to sign up in advance, and the moment the tables go on sale, the split second they go on sale, you had better be on it, ready with your money, already sorted, ready to go, because they sell out in approximately 8 minutes
Mm,
for MCM London at least. So I would usually gather up anyone I want a table with beforehand, tell them how much the pricing is going to be, tell them the date that I'm buying it, get all the money together, and then set my alarm so that I am online and ready, because
yeah.
it is abysmal. It takes anyone to do it though. I like the ones like Thought Bubble where they actually you just apply and then you find out if you have it or not.
I know San Diego is absolutely nuts
I've
just for
heard that.
every type of ticketing to try and get in.
Mm,
But they do give preference to people who have been years before.
mm,
And it's very similar. You have large groups of people, and I think they put their money in just like one pot, and whoever gets in first through the queue, they have
yeah.
that person buy as many as they can.
Oh, that's
And they just,
interesting.
yeah, so you have like 15 to 30 people attacking the server at once. Whoever gets in first, they buy as many tickets as they can.
Ooh.
And then I think it's limited to like 6 to 8, something like that. And
Yeah.
then they pay for those, they get the money for those, and then the next person in does the same until they have so many tickets.
Oh
Um,
man. Yeah.
that's also why, and then I think they have to register their names, and that's why I mean not MCM, San Diego now checks
Yeah.
driver's licenses. So
I think everything is always under my name as well when I'm booking everything. So we have to
yeah,
kind of, I always try and get there first so that I can actually pick up everyone's stuff. Although we've never really had a problem with that.
no,
Sounds like Glastonbury, says Sarah. I've never gone to Glastonbury though.
I'd love to go to Glastonbury.
That'd
I don't
be,
think I'd love to sleep there, but I'd like to go.
I bet it's very, yeah, I bet it's pretty crazy.
I've
I think there's
I've
a
heard stories.
real commonality between like festivals and cons. I kind of love to try and sell at a festival, but I think it would be insane.
For TCAF, they do a 1 year on, 1 year off system. So if you went
Oh.
last year, you probably won't get in the next year.
See, that's really smart because that keeps it mixed up as opposed to here where they usually do like you have to have been to the last con that was on. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, 1 year on, 1 year off makes a lot of sense. I like Thought Bubble have always let me in even though I have nothing to recommend me. And then I feel a bit guilty because there are probably people who've worked harder and are more deserving who could get into Thought Bubble.
Oh,
Sarah shouting, let's go to Glastonbury."
I like the BBC live stream of Glastonbury. Thanks.
That
I'll be there.
would be
I'd
good.
go for a day.
I'd go to festivals. I like festivals. We used to do festivals because Robin used to play them as a
Uh,
BBC. It was a little while where Robin was part of the like BBC soundstage independent small artists whatever whatever their particular initiative was, and they'd have like a BBC stage, and Robin would get an invite. Um, that was fun though. We went to some very small, very bizarre, in the middle of the
was
summer
it like the
festivals.
beginning of yesterday where he's like in that small shed with 3 people in the barn? I love that
I haven't seen
movie.
yesterday, but I have been to some things like that.
It's very good. You should see
I
it.
went once in Ireland. In Ireland, a friend of mine said that their friends were putting on a festival which they were calling Bob Fest, as in like Bob Dylan Fest, and it was just in a
Oh,
field. And we went down. and it was literally like 5 guys in a shed like that. It's just, it was still fun, but yeah, it was bonkers.
The episode of Toast where they have the beauty contests in the barn because there's so many protesters.
I used to go to an
Uh,
amazing festival where it was like deliberately barn aesthetics. It was actually like a lot of celebrities, but it was all set on, I think it was one of the celebrities' big manor. And when I say I was at this, I was working at it because of course I was. Um, and they had like, can I even remember all the details now? Killian Murphy DJ'd a gig, and they sold who does that stupid splatter paintings? He's like one of the young British artists, like a
mm.
anyway. They sold one of his paintings, and that was actually a really big deal because he was a really good artist that went for like tons of money. But it was a blind one where loads of people had done imitation paintings and only one painting was real, but you didn't know which one was the real one. So
Oh, I love those.
people were bidding like hundreds of thousands on like what turned out to be amateur paintings. And then the person who'd paid for the real one, they immediately turned around and resold it at auction when it was revealed which one was the real one, and she made like 2 million or something. It was the wildest event.
Uh,
That was fun. I was just working. I was just working, but it was fun.
I mean, I can tell you about all the crazy merch we've had
Yeah.
at the venue I used to work at. I won't name names, but just like I don't think it was Bob Dylan, but somebody, a big person who ordered, I don't know, something like 750 posters, brought them in, set them up, started selling them, and about an hour in, we had one guy come up and be like, you know, the date on that poster is not the right date for the actual concert. And this has happened so many times.
So the date on
But
the poster is like not the days that you're selling it. So you're like literally selling it on the correct dates, and then
yeah, yeah. So like, let's say they're there like the 15th, the 16th, and the 18th,
mm-hmm.
and it'll say like the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th, and you're just like, so it has one extra day, or the days are wrong, and this could be like they changed the schedule or something,
Yeah,
but
that's
correct.
that's a really good question to put to the chat though. Anyone watching this, what is the worst merch mishap that you went ahead and still sold? I think it's probably a good question because misspellings on my stuff is so common because you were just focused so hard on like getting your like beautiful curvy writing looking correct that you just write sometimes the wackest thing, but you never switch back from art mode to reading mode to actually proof check it, so you just send it off to the printer saying like, I had one which was meant to say swaggity and it said sweagity, and I never fixed it. I just left it exactly as it was and sold that pin for 3 years because I just wasn't gonna fix it. It was there. I've had to fix some
Oh,
of them though. Some of the stickers especially.
I just love with stuff like that. Like it takes somebody else. Like it has gone through 3 printers, 2 editors, and 1 artist. And
Several
at the end
proofreads
of the
and
day, it took a customer coming up after an hour being like, that's not right. And we're all just looking at it being like, huh.
and you
I
like
can
set
see.
the whole thing up as well. Like you had that whole period where you took the art and then moved it in and set it up as a piece of merch and then sent it off, and like all that time where you would have supposedly read it at some point.
Uh,
Oh, I didn't think I had any of my comic because I was very careful, but everything else for sure.
pages and pages of teeny tiny mistakes, Sarah says.
It's so infuriating, isn't it, Sarah? Especially if people keep telling you like you don't know, and you're like, I do. I know. I really know. I know it in my core.
Imagine like reading a book though. Like I was reading a book, I think it was by Neil Gaiman, and I
Mm.
found a spelling error, and I was like, oh, I could tweet this, and then I was like, I'm sure he's heard about
He knows.
this.
He knows about this one.
I don't need to tell anybody. They
you
know.
you get it in audiobooks a lot where the actor was obviously like paying attention so hard to what they're supposed to be doing, which is acting, that they misread something really badly. So you get them doing the wrong character's voice because they've
Oh,
mixed up who's talking. It drives you nuts, but they're not going to change it, so there's no point like going back and being like, oops, you did the driver's voice, but it wasn't the driver.
Sarah says the first run of her comic mentions a character that wasn't supposed to be in it until the sixth issue. I had to rewrite the story a little.
Oh, Sarah, that sounds like a biggie. Sounds like it sounds almost like you left a boom mic in on the top of the frame, which would also be great if you deliberately drew in scenery errors. Oh, we recut that. That didn't happen. Oh man, yeah, I definitely had to reprint a few things. I'm trying to think of posters and stuff that had happened too, but
I know we've gotten posters that have been a bit small, or the
yeah,
color correction's just been a bit off. So when you compared it to the other ones, you were like, this is just it's a bit thinner, or yeah,
yeah.
you're just like, what do we do with these then? We got 50 of them.
I don't know how much you've noticed, but some of my posters are wildly different sizes. They're all supposed to be A3, but they are a strange gambit of sizes around the idea of A3. Um,
I remember, I think there was one time when we got a taco print, and it, it was like his coloring was just a bit off.
oh, he was like
And
orange, like really orange.
yeah, he was like really orange, and we were like, oh my, what do we? I guess this is just it this time.
He,
Taco with a tan.
he looked like a Gerudo. It was bad. Um, yeah, because he was meant to be tan, but
Yeah.
this was fake tan to the max. But you're just like, it's con lighting. It's okay. I do actually color correct all my artwork. This is so whack now. Now, because I'm doing cons for so long, I color for con lighting, which is yellower than human lighting for humans.
That is a very interesting thing. That is one of your professional words of wisdom for this.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Mark it, the first professional words of wisdom from this entire stream. So con lighting is nearly always yellower. It's nearly always directly from above, extremely harsh, horrifying, will mess up all your colors. So I do all of my artwork that is just for sale at con a little brighter, and then you might, because I know like dull coloring, by which I mean just like muted coloring, can be like so beautiful and it's so subtle and it's so fine. But under con light, any subtlety is just eliminated. So I just make everything kind of kick you in the face bright. And then I feel kind of bad because people kind of like, your color is so lovely. And I'm like, they're not lovely. They're just maximum. They're just set to
Just,
maximum.
I love it. Oh, my favorite con question. Is this all yours? Oh my gosh. Is this all yours?
Deirdre's under strict instructions to just take all compliments as though this is her artwork. So,
Yes, I am Faye.
thank you. Yes, it is my work. I did that for Lily as well. I feel really bad, but people are like, "I love this so much," and I'm like, "Thanks,
I do that for Lily too.
thanks." I'm not Lily, but
Thank you.
Lily won't care, so thank you for your compliments this time.
And here I think Lily couldn't make it today because she is exploring a ghost town in the middle of Tennessee.
She actually, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
she was like, I'll be 2 hours away in some weird ghost town. It's abandoned. You could meet me there. And I was like, oh, sorry.
Go- Ghost town exploration sounds like a really good quarantine activity, though.
I know.
Actually sounds,
It was a good activity. It was great.
man. We should have picked some really bizarre quarantine activities to get into, like the kind of people who only explore abandoned amusement parks and stuff like that. And just been like, this is my new thing.
Well, my brother's getting into bonsai, which apparently is a guy thing. And I just play Red Dead. I'm trying to get 100% complete.
I finished John last night. I finished Red Dead. Um, which would have been more magical, except I actually really wanted to play Red Dead, and the credits are actually 40 minutes long or something. So I
Uh,
just got 40 minutes of credits instead of playing. It was good. Speaking of the bonsais, though, my brother-in-law got into it, and his technique for bonsai was to grow the trees up to saplings and then just hack all the branches off.
yeah, yeah, that's it. We saw a full-grown tree today, and my brother was like, "I'm gonna take it home and then just chop it in half and use what's growing." And I was like, "This poor tree, I'm not gonna let you do that."
This is like some kind of like bonsai speed hack thing for like bros. It's really bizarre.
Uh,
Japan would not
yeah,
approve.
Eli, we all wish we were Lily exploring a ghost town right now with her fiance.
Lily has it right. I remember she was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to fly home today. Oh no, it's cancelled. Anyway, I better go explore ghost now." Oh, the perfect choice.
Lily is trying to escape New York if New York was the United States.
Escape from United States would be an excellent movie. Well, if I'm very half-heartedly drawing Seahawk here, but I keep forgetting what I'm doing.
Why not?
Oh, the show is over, so I'm finally going to finish this badge set now that it's ended.
Just remember when you made the Space Daddy set, and you're just like, here it is, Space Daddy. And
Dandy,
about
not daddy.
Dandy, about 1 in 1,000 people would be like, "Oh my God, Space Dandy!" And you were like, "Yes, I made this for me."
Let's talk about that with merch. That's a really good con question.
Make
Populism
merch.
versus things that that one fucking person is gonna be like, holy shit, you have it.
Ah,
Because those people are magical when they
yeah.
find the one thing that you did and scream. But it is a really hard mix at con to get that right.
There's one con merchant. Every time I go to their table, it's always the nichest stuff. It was Book of Mormon, the musical stickers, and I was like, "Oh my God, you have it!" And it was just a sticker that said, "I can't believe Jesus called me a dick," and it was my favorite.
Oh, I
I put
found
it
one.
on stuff
I
at my work, and people were like, "Why?" And I was like, "You don't understand."
But it's so nice when you do find that, isn't it? Because I found a Terry Pratchett one, which was the motto of the like Revolution Brigade in one of the books, which is something like reasonably priced love and a hard boiled egg. It's actually quite a long motto, but they'd made like a really intense sticker with the entire motto on it. And I'm just like, for me, I need 10. Thank you. So yeah, when you do find that one thing, you are like, yes. But you make things sometimes that
Yes.
you are so convinced it's going to be popular. Like if I made a Raymond print right now, Raymond from Animal Crossing, you would think in your head, like, it'll sell like hotcakes. But always, if you've made something that you just thought was going to sell, it's the thing that you don't shift a single unit of. And the really
Oh,
obscure, bizarro piece of trash that you made in a half an afternoon will be the thing that everyone's like, I need it.
I yes, I think with the enamel pin
Mm,
sets we did, and like I was part of this, I was like, do it, do it, do it, because we
yeah,
had people asking for your shy yet gay pin.
yeah.
For they wanted that sticker to be made into an enamel pin for absolute ages, and finally we were like, let's do it. We're gonna make a whole pin set, and that is like the one pin that hasn't shifted as well as the
Isn't
others. And
it
I'm like,
incredible? Like
it's like everybody wanted this
people
one pin.
asked us for that pin for 4 years or something stupid. Because it's on a little sign on our table, just for that context. Our table has like a little thing that says, "You would like this comic. It is cute and gay," or "Shy Yet Gay," or
Yeah.
whatever we had. Um, or the Shy Yet Gay was a sticker, and the Cute Yet Gay was on the sign. Um, so we were like, "Yes, perfect. We'll make this." Hundreds of people have wanted it. We've really road tested this as an enamel pin idea. I haven't sold like any of them. All the other pins sold out. I've had 18 restock requests on Etsy for the one, although I'm not going to do it because we're in the middle of a pandemic and that just seems like a really non ideal time. Uh, but yeah, the one that everyone asked for, nada, nada.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
yeah.
maybe it would have sold
It's
like hotcakes if we'd actually had MCM this weekend though.
that's always the kicker.
Eleanor bought it. Ellie, thank you. I think it's a cool pin. But yeah,
I love it. I think it's the best.
it even came in two colors. Like, what more can you ask for? I should wear it right now for context. But yeah. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, me and Ginger are just going to talk random.
I mean, I could listen to both of us talk around it for a long time. I'm looking forward to having this permanently.
What do you guys think of the idea of drawing streaming? I would need to draw more and talk less. This is part of the problem. This is why I don't do commissions at con. To answer the question in full.
It's my favorite, Ellie says. I was going to. Oh man. I
Yeah.
think. Sorry, I keep not finishing my sentences. How to deal with a crisis at con.
What kind of crisis? Which kind of crisis?
I think Lily and Nani were
Yeah.
saying how they both left money in hotel rooms. And
Oh
you've been
man.
robbed at a con. I was standing right next to you. I've had
Yeah.
my wallet stolen.
We lost that
Uh,
£300 one time that we never found out what happened to it.
yeah, that was
N-
so
The
strange.
mystery 300. We still don't know. If you're wondering even the context of this for us to explain it to you, that I don't know. There was £300, and then later on, there was not. But what happened in the meantime? I have
It
no
was
idea.
so weird because I am so meticulous with money. I
Yeah.
count and count and count and count and count. And then we counted at the end and it was just like, why is this $300 pounds less than what we counted earlier?
I did wonder if we just made some kind of crazy error
I
somewhere,
just,
but
the other thing I was like, did we spend that
yeah.
much?
Did we party? Did we just really party? Which we have done for sure. What's the biggest crisis we've had at con? We had the time when all the books didn't arrive, and I had to travel halfway across London to get them. That was
Yeah.
not my favorite. We've had people get very sick, but you just have to deal with
Yeah.
that if it comes up.
We've had the time somebody nicked your wallet. Uh
Mm, mm.
it's hard because it's kind of just like you just have to it's one of those things where you just have to swallow it and just take it. Like it's just like, well, that just sucks.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing. You're
There,
at this event, and like, there's so much that can go wrong, and some of it will. You've just got to roll
yeah.
with it as much as you possibly can. The time I got the wallet stolen, I was just very happy that I had a lot of change on me, so I could pay for things in change
And
instead.
you're more just upset that you had lost your supernatural charm collection, and where you're like,
It
I can
was
never buy those.
it was Pacific Rim.
Oh, Pacific. Cup.
It was Newt from Pacific Rim, and I had brought it from Digituni, and it was a beautiful charm, and I still miss it. The charm was excellent, and I remember phoning the police and saying, "Listen, someone stole my wallet. I know exactly who it was. I know exactly where it was. I don't really care about the contents of the wallet, but if you could get the wallet back, it has a very good keychain." And they were like, "Okay, all right." And I was like, "I'm never gonna see this again," but I tried.
Yeah. Uh, Ellie says, I wish I had questions, but I can't really do cons because I'm a writer, not an artist. Love getting to watch y'all talk and draw, though.
I'll
Uh,
try and draw more. Sorry. Getting
there
there.
are writer cons. I've been to 221B Con specifically had a lot of writers um,
Yeah.
who uh, it had a few ladies who just worked for publishers and they were there to kind of premiere the books that were coming out and see what people thought. They were great fun. I love sitting next to them.
There's also the Hugo Awards, which I did consider tabling at, which is obviously like mostly writers anyway, but I thought it might be kind of fun.
You could
Um,
bring your your pin.
I mean, that was kind of the idea.
And when anybody important walks by, you just hide that one pin just right under the
Or
table.
you just throw it at them.
Black market pin sales.
Um, yeah. I'm sure the Hugos won't be going ahead this year, but I was really hoping that, or is it any every 4 years? I can't remember now. I think it's any every 4 years. But I hope next time it's on, someone will wear that pin and be like, Hugos? Oh, for context, I don't think anyone who's watching the stream will know this context. The Hugo Awards did try to come for me, and they
I
failed.
love it.
Don't, don't come for the king if you're gonna miss. What's that phrase? Just come for me, Hugos. So yeah,
If it
my nemesis.
oh, My nemesis, the Hugo Award.
My nemesis, the Hugo Awards. Full stop.
Oh, we're gonna get banned.
I have a really nice AO3 mug from that time though now, which I'm just like, this is what I got out of it. So beautiful.
Donate all this money just in spite.
Copyright a con. We should talk about this.
Copyright a con. The times when Nintendo walks around and takes down anybody that has any Pikachu stuff.
Yes. Don't
Kirby
copy
stuff.
Nintendo stuff too closely. Maybe just don't have Nintendo stuff at all. If you are gonna have Nintendo stuff, make sure it does not look exactly like. By which I mean, don't change the design, but just like stylize. If you were just copying it out almost exactly again, you have done nothing, and they will come for you. So with my Pikachus, they're pretty close, but they also aren't that close. Some people say it looks like Bugs Bunny Pikachu, which I like. Bugs.
I like that.
I'll take that. That's fine. Like he's a little rabbity guy.
I think it's important to know your rights though, because I've heard of some people faking, not faking, but being like, you know, if I reported you, you know, you could get taken down, like threatening people. What was that crazy one I heard where I've heard some crazy ones about just copyrights and stuff. Former flatmate went to con and found their art that they had done for uni had been made into a pin and was being sold by an artist there.
I remember that. I actually think I bought one, which is terrible. Yeah. Oh no, it was that we'd asked them to stop and then they gave us all the pins.
Yeah, they were very apologetic. They were like, oh my God. But it was probably from them buying large amounts of them from AliExpress.
Just to AliExpress do keep, this is a PSA, AliExpress, great in some ways. All the companies are quite small. Most of them are extremely dodgy, don't exist for 1 year and then rebrand and become a different company. You'll get your pins. Often they'll look pretty good or pretty bad or pretty in between, depending on who you used and how much you paid and all the rest of it. But a lot of them will steal your design, bulk create them, and then sell them to secondary manufacturers as part of a job lot of different pin designs, which is like when you get in Comic-Con those dealers who just have big pin boards with like hundreds of different pin designs on them. Those will all be knockoff pins from AliExpress. So the person who's selling them doesn't know this necessarily. They probably do. I don't know why you wouldn't. But they will have just bought a job lot of pins, and your design or your friend's design or an artist you know's design could well be in there. So I do try and check those pin boards sometimes you walk by, because you just like, you might recognize one. None of mine have been stolen to my knowledge. But we had Grace had a load of her Harry Potter ones stolen one time, and we then got them to take it down. So don't steal from small artists. Don't steal. Small artists haven't got any money. Don't steal. Ain't got nothing.
Who was it? Sugar Bones had something like this.
Yeah.
If anybody knows Sugar Bones, where I think they're US based, but then they had a UK salon stole their art to like brand their whole salon around, because it was like a lot of like killer beauty type stuff, and like the fight that went down over that was amazing to watch as a third party.
I think what's most amazing is that like most artists, if you came to them and were like, "Can we use your art for our branding?" would be like, "Oh yeah," and give you like a really reasonable rate.
Yeah.
But instead, everyone just goes straight to stealing, without ever even trying to contact the artist, which I think is crazy, because like artists are not going to charge you billions for branding. Yeah. Like most people, or especially if the art is already made and you just want to license things, people are going to be like, chuck us a few pennies, you know?
Sarah says that happened to Nina. She didn't even buy through AliExpress either. And yeah, that was what my flatmate Agatha Draws had that as well. She didn't even, I think she posted her art to Tumblr, but she never commissioned it as pins, and then she found it.
They probably just nick stuff off Pinterest sometimes as well, because obviously that's also one of those free-for-all art from the internet.
I think it was Tumblr.
Yeah, I mean, like Tumblr hoovers things up, and then they were all on Pinterest, and then your name isn't on it anymore.
It's unfortunate that now we just have to expect some just you're going to expect some sort of stealing is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just something to prepare
Bootlegs.
for. Know what your rights are. Have your fake lawyer document ready to send.
Letter from my solicitor.
And
The solicitor of me.
there are a lot of like copyright lawyers who are willing to lend their services like pro bono if it's a really serious case. There are people out there. You just have to find them. There are people on Twitter who are willing to do that to help you out.
I would also say, like, by and large with fan art, most of the time, if you are stylizing and you are not claiming it's the real thing and you are not messing, you are going to be fine. But if people come to your table and start asking you weird questions about copyright, even if you know the answers and you know that you're fine, don't answer them, because I don't. Why is this person coming to my table and asking me a lot of questions about copyright? Is always my primary question. Like, I'm working. If you actually wanted to know, talk to a lawyer. If you want to know for some nefarious reason, I'm not going to gain anything by answering your questions. So that is my top tip for Comic Con, because people will come and ask you all kinds of questions, and you do mostly just answer them, like, where do you buy a tablet? Where do you get your pins made? Where's the
How
coffee
do you get a
machine?
table?
How do I get cash out here? What time is such and such a panel on? Yeah.
Do you know where the loo is?
I'm here. I'm going to answer all your questions. I don't really care. I will answer all of them forever. Except if you're asking me weird questions about copyright. Because
Yeah, weird.
why are you
Also,
asking?
asking about suppliers, I think, can
Mm.
be a tricky road. A lot of
Yeah.
artists do not want to share their suppliers, just period, which is,
I will never
to me,
mind if it's
very
about stickers or
understandable.
posters. But about enamel pins, people get really secretive for sure.
Well, I think with your printers, your stickers and posters, you just really like your printers, so you just want them to have more business.
I do say the printers that I live over, which is not a very helpful answer to most people, but they're really great. They're called Storm Press, and they are fantastic. They've moved out from underneath my house to slightly further away from my house now, but they're really good, and they've always given me really good prices, and they don't mess you about like some other manufacturers I can name. They will just do it and send it to you, and then you'll have them, and there'll just be no, where's my stuff? Like, why is it all bent? Why did you print completely the wrong thing and send it to me? They're just great. Sometimes the things are wacky sizes, but that's not something that ever bothers me.
I think some people will ask other artists who their supplier is, and when they don't answer, get a
Yeah,
bit offended, which isn't always possible because sometimes your supplier is just not, it's not somebody who you can actually give their contact information out
yeah,
because they're not a business. They're not like,
yeah. Or
like
some people just do it at
I,
home as well.
yeah, I think Way's a good example of that
Mm.
because she's getting her stuff done overseas from different contractors, and it's just like, can I have your supplier? And you're like, not really. Not to be offensive, it's just
She'll actually be able to, like, she speaks Mandarin, I believe, so she could probably like deal with
yeah,
people at the source instead of having to go through translators and things. It's kind of part of the problem.
yeah.
What time is it? Oh my god, we've been going for an hour, and I've drawn half a drawing. Doing well. I do draw much faster when I'm not on stream. I'd like to clarify this.
I do like watching. Con questions.
I think that's it. Have we solved Comic Con forever?
I
I miss
mean,
Comic Con. I want to go.
I miss Comic Con too. I miss drinking and playing D&D.
D&D is the best
Some,
part of Comic Con for sure. No, the best part of Comic Con is when you walk out into the light after 3 days of nothing but darkness and everyone's just getting super high and doing flips on the lawn. I really love that moment when you're just like, another con will work. Everyone's just like Spider-Man is just like whoop, 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 whoop.
with Deadpool and Spider-Man getting high outside on the lawn.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially
I
because
miss
that
it.
area of the Excel is so fancy. Everyone is Just trash. It's so good.
I love getting on the tube through London, and then it's slowly getting more and more filled
Nerdy.
with nerdy and people norms on the train going, what is going on? They're expecting like a flash dance or something.
Yeah. I really love when
Bye,
you're on a train
Sarah.
and there's people and just like, oh, bye, Sarah. Sarah, we should do this sometime. Sarah, you should
Yes,
come on. I can figure out how to have more than one person on this chat window. We'll have a round table.
let's do this.
Please
We're
be
gonna do
impressed that
this.
I managed to get two of us on the screen at the same time. I felt very good about it.
uh,
Professional. Deirdre, we're going to become stream champions.
all the time, every day, more and more seasons,
We just
more
need
and
to
more seasons.
we just need
Rick
to
and
figure out
Morty.
how to play Red Dead together on screen and murder
Ah,
everybody. Yes, Sarah. Yes, Sarah. Let's do this for D&D. Let's do a D&D sesh.
live stream.
She
I
put it up.
apologize in advance.
Please do not apologize in advance. I apologize in advance for this stream because I knew it would be a technical nightmare. And thank you for turning up early and telling me that I had accidentally muted most of us.
We should make you an admin.
Yes.
Make Sarah admin.
I'm sure there's probably fancy ways where someone can help you run your stream, but we tried.
Oh yeah, I see Eat Your Kimchi doing it all the time because they have thousands of watchers, and I'm like, this is how I'm getting all of my knowledge about live streaming on YouTube.
I just watch things like Outside Xbox where they actually have like a cameraman and a budget, and I'm just like, I have
Oh,
no idea.
what are you gonna film? Just be like, Deidre, stop rocking back and forth, and I'm like, no, I can't.
No, it's essential.
You're fired.
I'm not as good at the long elf ears. Let's get this done. There we
Uh,
go. Oh, I've drawn fan art in ages. This feels good. I've drawn it since the pandemic began.
you know who? Every time I think of elf ears, I think of Holly Black getting real elf ears done.
Did she get real
And
elf ears made?
yeah, no, yeah, like she had plastic surgery to actually cut her ears into
Knife ears.
yeah, sew them into points. It's
Oh
just
my
like a stitch at the
god.
top.
I kind of love that. That's
I know,
dedication.
dedication.
You can't see my ears or I would do something like that. Like, I don't have ears. I have too much hair all the time. That would be...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All she has is pixie cuts. All she writes is fairy stuff, and she's like, I'm doing it. This is my brand now." I'm like,
And it's
yes.
awesome, though. But, like, if you're going to get tattoos and stuff anyway, you might as well go the whole hog and get a little bit of interesting surgery. Robin, would you get surgery to make your ears into elf ears? Robin is shaking his head. Robin is also here, everyone.
The synth lord. Yes.
Happy
Everybody
Synthesizer
go.
Day from Robin to you all. It is Synthesizer Day. Yesterday was World Goth Day, and today is Synthesizer Day, so we're doing a double
So good.
whammy.
Everybody go follow Ogre Sounds and listen to his music. It's great.
Robin, we should put your music as our like start and end music, like professionals.
And
All
then
right.
we can do a thank you, like a regular, like, also thank you to Ogre Sounds for lending your music to this podcast.
Gotta learn the patter really quickly. The start and end of our streams. Ellie says hi, Robin. He waves.
We waves.
He waves. No speech at this time. I think we've run out of concepts. Concepts. Oh, I'm gonna clue you all in on our most favorite one, which is if you have a problem, customer, or a problem,
Yes.
or any kind of problem, ask your con table mate for the red bags. Have we got any more red bags left? We got any more of the red stripe bags? Just it rhymes with red flag, and that is how you can remember it. There you go. That's my
That
secret.
is a great one. It's also just like, just to have somebody to be like, this person won't go away. Will you please switch tables with me for 5 minutes? Or just be like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Can you watch this table while I go to the
Mostly
bathroom?
they then go, oh yeah, come over here and help me with this thing. That I need you to
Yeah.
come away, and come be somewhere else. Unfortunately, hangers on will stand there for up to 20 minutes waiting for you to come back, which does not always work. I'm not saying that as like hangers on, by which I mean like you are welcome to stand at my table for 20 minutes, but if you have been telling me your political opinions about various horrible ideas.
Brexit.
Various horrible concepts is all I'm going to say. And I've been like, ha 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 ha, please leave. And then you're still there for 20 minutes trying to tell me about your horrible opinions about Brexit and various other things. Then it's red bag time.
It's red pack time. Or the security guard. The security guard was.
Security guard. We had at a Hyper Japan London tobacco dock, so this was a few years ago, one of the security guards who was working the event just decided to talk to us all weekend. Absolutely all weekend, without cease, unrelentingly. And because he was a security guard for the event, people kept thinking we were in trouble. People didn't want to come over to our table because you were talking to a security guard. So something serious either has happened or you are in trouble for some reason, is the concept. And I kept saying to him, can you please stop coming over? Because you were literally driving away all my customers because you are a security guard. And he still stood there and talked to us all weekend, and we could not shake him. And he didn't leave because he was working, so of course he just stayed there. He didn't have anywhere else to be. So that was probably one of the worst hangers on we've ever had.
Oh.
I think he wanted somebody's number. Ha 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 ha. I hear you ringing,
Yeah.
Deirdre.
Nobody. I think the other thing is, I might have just lost it. Ah!
What? I can still hear you.
No, I know. I was thinking of like the perfect comment to make, and now it's just gone.
Is it about the security guard at Tobacco Dock? You yelled like you're in pain. It might that constant ringing might be telling us it's nearly time to end the stream.
Oh no. I did have some good ones. I was just mostly talking about just customers. I think most customers are just so lovely, but you know.
The occasional person who wants to make their problem your day, or their day
Yeah.
your problem. One of the two.
Yeah. Your problem, my day, and stuff like that. Every single day.
Most people just want a really nice chat. And I live for chatting at Comic-Con. Like, people are like, am I annoying you? And I'm like, no, this is what I'm here for. This is why I don't do commissions.
We come to Comic-Con to meet people with similar ideas. Like,
Yeah.
That's why we are there. We like doing it.
It's also where I get all my best recommendations of what I should be watching next.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what I should be watching. You tell me. Let me know what's good.
Yeah. Every day. What do you think? This is one thing you wanted to talk about was table setup.
It's hard to talk about. Actually, I was going to do diagrams and stuff if people were interested in it, but maybe we could hold off on that for another time. I know that Eve G on Twitter did like a really good set of diagrams on how to set up a small table so to like draw the eye across everything. That said, a lot of people would say of my table setup that it's far too busy. It's how I like it. I call it a rummage sale, but I like to just bombard you with potential items. But it's also because I make a lot. But
I remember what I was going to say with the security guard. I think one thing, especially for artists, and I think I can see this from an outside perspective, is just like not to base your success on how well you did at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors.
It's so many factors. It's like if you don't do well at a Comic-Con, it's most likely has nothing to do with your art, nothing to do with anything in your control.
Yeah.
I remember there are a couple Hyper Japans in a row, which
I did terribly.
It was just like the placement of the tables, how the con had set things up, panels running, what type of people they had invited for signatures, I think was a big one. If you have like huge name stars, I think it's always good to draw in people.
Yeah.
But if you have like 15 headliners for signatures, people are only going to be doing signatures that day.
It's going to take all day to get them as well. LFCC was always really bad for this because everyone was there for autographs. there's almost no point as an artist doing LFCC because people are just not there to look at indies. It's just not what they're there for. So it has
And
nothing to
then
do
if
with your art because they weren't even coming for that.
yeah, I think that's a big one because like I do have friends who are just autograph people. They're only there to, see the talks, get their photos, get group photos, and then if they're seeing multiple people in that day and going to multiple panels, that's just their day. They might have a couple, like half an hour to get food and to do a quick walk around. And if you're just not near there, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like the security guard, there's no way you could control that.
And it was a pity because that would have been a good event otherwise because
Yeah,
it was the right style of event for us. We actually had quite good positioning. I think it was the year Yuri on Ice came out. We actually had like a lot of Yuri on Ice stuff. So we were kind of still doing well despite the security guard because people were hungry
yeah,
for that Yuri. But yeah, we've had some, like, everyone has bad cons. By and large, you and I do pretty well. Like, we've mostly only had successful events. We plan pretty well. Like, you
yeah.
usually
We
get pretty good footfall.
also like the position of your table. I think that year we had the corner table. We did so well because it was
Yes.
people walking by could see stuff on their path while walking from
Yes.
panels.
Yeah.
So something to like catch somebody's eye. I remember when people were doing those the spinny wheels.
Yes.
Um,
And we had the
I
wheel.
know, yeah, Geo the Bio has the gumball machine. I'm not sure if they still have that. Um, little things like that that are hard to transport, but also draw in large amounts of customers.
I have the wheel. What's it called again? The Wheel of Awesome.
The
Um,
wheel is awesome.
I love the Wheel of Awesome, but it has 8 prizes on it, which is really hard to keep in stock. And often then, if I set the price too high, it's just too much of a like risk because you don't know what you're going to get. So you do have to have quite a low price on it for people to want to do it. But if you set the price too low, it becomes so fantastically popular that it takes over the entire weekend and you can't move.
Yeah.
And then the burden tends to fall on your table mate, Deirdre or Eva or Lily or Falca, even back in the day, who like have to then try and keep up with the sheer number of people trying to spin that wheel all the time. Um,
Multiple times.
so like I think it's really interesting because if you are having low traffic, have something like that that you can just chuck out because it can be a real draw. But
Or,
also if it's a real draw that is too cheap, it will actually draw attention away from the more interesting items in your table, which would actually make you money.
yeah.
Mm.
I remember people were just spinning the wheel for ages trying to get commissions, but so many people were spinning the wheel you didn't have time to do commissions.
I know. This one year I came home with 80 commissions. They were just sketches, so nothing more complicated than what I'm drawing on screen right now. But 80, 80 adds up. 80 really adds up. It took about a week and a
Oh,
half to get them all done. Um, and some of them
that's
were better
still
quality than
really
others.
impressive.
Some of
That's
them were
really
better
impressive.
quality than others, but I did my best.
Just live
Um,
at Costa for a week and just be like, I'm just drawing. Coffee, please. Another coffee. Another coffee.
you can't even have a Costa because you need references because you've never heard of half of the characters that people want as commissions. So you have to look up reference for every single one of them. They'd be like, I specifically want this specific character who's in the background of this one anime that you've never seen that hasn't been on the air for 20 years. And you're like, okay, could you write
Okay.
that name down real careful for me because I am going to have to Google that later. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's
Very
all
good.
of our con advice for today. Shall we call it?
Yeah, I think hour and a half
We did
is done.
it! 80 a week was insane. I wouldn't recommend it. The wheel was too popular. Um,
Oh,
it is
yeah,
fun though.
raise the price of the wheel.
I'd still do it again sometime, maybe.
I love how Wei has a little discount pile. She's just like, all this
Mm.
stuff, half price, go at
I love
it.
gumball machines and things. I think they're just so fun. Or gachapons. Or there was one
Yeah,
guy
I
who
think,
had he had a half a watermelon which had sticks in it, and you had to pick a stick out, and whatever the color on the end of the stick was the thing that you won.
Oh my gosh. You could just do that with a cup.
It was a watermelon though, for whatever reason. It was I did it because I was like, why you got a watermelon? I need to know more. Please. I mean, there's another person, another very successful one, which was someone who just had an incredibly cute dog lying on a
Ah,
very cute cushion, and I couldn't cope, and I had to go over, and then I stayed there for 20 minutes because I couldn't leave the dog alone. So you can, there's tips and tricks out there. Have an incredibly cute dog. Use something weird like a watermelon.
yeah, Geo the Bios is a gumball machine that says Fantasy Costco on it.
That's really great.
And
That's really great.
it just has pin badges in like random pin badges in it. And I think that's amazing.
Oh,
Also, Geo the Bio has a setup, a big board behind their stall, and they only sell their badges as sets, which
yeah,
I think is
that's sensible.
amazing. So nobody can like choose a single one,
Yeah.
even though they've had them do that before.
Mm.
And you have to just buy the whole set, which I
Yeah.
think is
It's literally
amazing. Also,
the opposite of my method.
they're just like, I'd like set one, set two. But working where people do that, I know that's going to have so many more questions than
The
you actually
organization of that
have.
is pretty good. I know I would forget the one character from the one set and it would be a huge problem. But yeah,
I think the question they get the most is, can I just have this one badge? How much is this one badge? And having to say over and over, no, you
absolutely
can't.
not. No.
Absolutely not.
You can't though because the set gets ruined and you get with
Yes,
148 of the one character, which I've had in the past as well.
which is breaking the rule of customer service of saying no, which is, but you'd have to say no.
You have to have your own rules. You got to do it
Yeah.
however works for you, for your inner stress level. Never mind customer service sometimes. But all right. Thank you guys for
Wrapping
coming.
this up.
Thank you guys for coming. It's been really fun. This has been the first stream I've done since about 2014. And probably the first one where you can see my face at the same time as the drawing. So, although I can't stop looking up at watching Deirdre like we're having a phone call. Um, here's the camera. It's been really nice though. And if you are interested in more streams, probably with more drawing and less talking, or more talking and less drawing, depending on the day, or D&D, or doodle requests, then like let me know because this worked and I don't it didn't even kill my computer, so it's a huge success. Nothing exploded. Would do
Yes.
again. 5 stars. I'm gonna give myself 5 stars. Not the
I'm
quality of the
gonna give
streams.
five
Five
stars
stars.
today. We'd like to thank Ogre Sounds for being our support mascot in all this. Thank you.
And for being cool with us doing it and chilling in the background. And Ogre
Happy boss.
Sounds will steal your music for use next time so we can look you up. Oh yeah, I'm having a sale all weekend. You probably know that because you already saw this tweet. It's 10% and you get some free stickers. Have a good MCM online. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Man, this is a good question.